Hi there. I'm so happy to see all of you guys again. And it's great because nowadays I'm really getting to know so many of you from the Power of Eight groups. And it really makes a difference to get to know you. And the best thing is that you're getting to know each other, which is cool. And my guess is eventually you'll start meeting up as I think every single person who I've seen here almost has been in a Power of Eight group. So yeah, that's my goal, is that you start to meet up. I'm going to start this talk just giving a few announcements before we get into the material, and it's a little bit about the Power of Eight groups. First of all, the goal with the Power of Eight groups was to roll out a new one every week. So the first one we rolled out was the UK group. And it's UK and certain parts of Europe. And then of course we have somebody that's actually in Africa that's gonna be in that group. We tried to get a Middle East group and India group going, but that didn't really work. So we just moved some of those Middle East, those people living in the Middle East to this Southeast Asia group, which is great. And we also have an Australia, New Zealand group. Now, you don't have to live in these areas to be in this group. The idea was I was just following the Power of Eight protocols, and that is to try to find people on similar time zones just for efficiency, but it's not necessary. So I want to just announce when these groups meet so that you could jump into these groups. It doesn't matter, just because I call it the Southeast Asia group, it doesn't mean you can't jump in. So the first one, I'm going to use Bangkok time because so first of all, the first Power of Eight group that occurs in a week is Wednesday at 3 o'clock Bangkok time. And I call it the New Zealand Australia group. I believe, if I understand correctly, that would be about 6 p.m. Brisbane, Sydney time, but you better check that. It's 3 p.m. Bangkok time. Don't have many people in it, so that would be a good group. The other group, and also write to me if you want me to repeat these, or you know, let me know. Just say, hey Mel, I'm kind of interested in that group, or hey, I could pop in that group sometime. Can you get me into that group? And I'll get you into that group. Then the next group is 7 p.m. Wednesday. That's 7 p.m. Bangkok time. And that's what I call the Southeast Asia, India, Middle East group, but you can be from anywhere for that. And the next one that comes is the UK group, and that's Friday, 2:15 Bangkok time. If I understand correctly, that's 8:15 London time, I think, something like that. But anyway, it's 2:15 Bangkok time. I'm sure of that because I'm there for that. So those are 3 Power of Eight groups you could join. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to tell you, which I was really excited to hear, is that some people have joined the international group, and that is Lynn McTaggart. So Lynn McTaggart, who is the person who we've been following from the Intention Experiment, who wrote the Intention Experiment, The Field, The Bond, and we've been listening to some of her audios here on the calls and also in the homework. She has an international group, and I have all the time zones for this one. You can go to her webpage, first of all, and it's lynnmctaggart.com. That's lynnmctaggart.com. And she has a weekly live intention group to limit the spread of COVID. So this is an international group. There's probably thousands of people there. But I want to tell you the time. It's 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK, and 6 p.m. Europe. So again, that's 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK, and 6 p.m. Europe. That's a great group to go to for many reasons, to be a part of this big international group, but to learn from her, the master, you know, to watch how, you know, she does intention. She's not doing all this breath work, and there is music. She does use the music that we use for our intention, but that's a great learning opportunity for you, and also just good to get involved in that cause. The other thing that, if you go to her webpage, she had what I like about Lynn McTaggart. She is an investigative journalist, and as I've mentioned before, she was editor for a magazine called What Doctors Don't Tell You, and this was a very serious piece of investigative journalism. It still is. I believe it's a monthly magazine, and I love it because I really, really get great quality content out of it. But what I love about this is that she has been running a COVID series on how to improve immunity. And she's been working with some of the amazing doctors that she's been working with for like 30 years. She knows the best doctors in the world from her magazine. And she created a series on immunity, and some real powerful, simple little things that you can do. One of the things was she had an iodine specialist on there, and that was really good, just giving you the exact dosage of iodine that would really power up people's immunity. That was one of the really cool things I learned on there. So all of this would be on her webpage. I think that series is over, but you can connect with it on her webpage, and then, you know, still watch all the old videos on that. But again, I would love for you to join whenever you can. Selena's in it, and Selena wrote that it's on Wednesday, so she's a part of that group. So that's something I hope you guys can do. And if anybody, please contact me if you want to be in any of the Power of 8 groups. And the idea of the Power of 8 groups is they will go on all year long, or as long as you want. Lynn McTaggart, when she does an intention masterclass, she does a 6-week masterclass. A little different than this, but it's a preparatory class, and they have 6 Saturday calls like we do. But then the class actually lasts for a year, but there's no more teaching and there's no more live calls. They just have Power of 8 groups like we do that meet the rest of the year. And she feels that's where the magic really, really happens, in the Power of 8 groups that meet the rest of the year. So that's why I'm just slowly rolling these out before our course is over, so that you guys can start getting used to being in the Power of 8 groups. And they've been really very interesting so far. I've really kind of been surprised by what's been happening and the effects. So I just wanted to make those announcements about that. And so we're going to get into the subject of the day, which is a manifestation technique called quantum manifestation. That'll be the first thing that we do. So we'll be working on a very specific technique. And after that, we're going to be doing some balancing work. We've in the homework, we provided some information on chakras. And I know some people have written, said that they're doing some of the exercises around chakras and doing some work around that. So for that particular activity, when we do some chakra work, it'll be through yoga poses. So you'll actually have to find a place you can do a little bit of yoga, but I'll call it chakra yoga, because the idea is to balance the chakras. But I'd like you to have pen and paper or pencil and paper near you, because we're going to be getting some information from our different chakras as we do chakra yoga. So please have some paper nearby. Then we're going to do our famous shaking, backed by popular demand. And we're going to end with a Ananda Mandala chakra breathing. Well, we started last week. We started the Ananda Mandala last week, so you saw the basic technique. We also provided in the homework, so maybe you could have a chance to do it at home on your own. But today we're going to do it as a group, as our Power Up session. I would like to look at it. It has 2 benefits. One, it will be our session to power up before we do our intention work. But the other benefit it's really a treatment. So it's a treatment to balance out your energies and bring more energy into the body. So, but when you come out of the Ananda Mandala, it's going to be a little bit different, because normally we just let you go after we've done the breath work, but I actually need to bring you back. So, and you're going to come back after the Ananda Mandala breathing practice, and you're going to bring those notes that you took when you were doing the chakra yoga, because we have to unpack some of that information that came up. And at the end, we're going to make some plans. We talked about desire mapping all along the way. And before you go, I want to just hit the part of the process that we're in with the desire mapping. So desire mapping is first, you are just getting a lot of core desired feelings and emotions and gathering information and gathering those words. So I would say it's very exploratory, that first stage. And then we went deeper and went into clarification to really see if we had core desired feelings. We had a good list of core desired feelings, and they really indeed were our core desired feelings. And you guys would remember that because we did some of that negativity work where we looked at the negative and turned it around to the positive. And a lot of people said that was really useful. And now we're going to today start the planning process of using our core desire feelings in our day-to-day planning. And we'll do that at the end of the call. So there's a lot coming up. Believe it or not, there's just going to be a little talking by me in the beginning to just teach this technique. And then the rest of it will be a lot of treatments and exercises and therapeutic work. And at the end, we'll go back to school and do a little group talking about what's coming up. So there we go. So let me just get some water here before I start this. So this is a technique I learned from somebody who has a YouTube channel called Marina Jacobi. And she teaches what's called quantum manifestation. And she teaches manifestation from the point of view of quantum physics. And I really love it. It's a little bit complicated for a lot of people. And I've shared it with people, some of the people that are actually here, and they thought, wow, that's just some really complicated stuff. And that's actually what inspired me to want to teach something like this, because I thought, well, I can see it's pretty complicated, but I also see that it can be taught in a simple sort of way. So today I have this challenge of taking this very complex, technical, sciencey kind of subject, quantum manifestation from quantum physics, and teaching it at a very simple level where you're going to be able to apply it immediately. So I'm going to take a deep breath because it's a daunting task, but I'm really sure I can do this thing. So what Marina Jacobi says, and I'm not saying that you have to believe what she says, I'm just giving you her theory and her framework, and you can believe it or not believe it, try it out, do what you want. I don't want you to feel I'm saying this is the way the world works. I say this is a theory about the way manifestation works, and it's really fun to practice it, but I'm not saying that you got to believe it. I don't want it to interfere with your worldview. But according to Marina, every moment we are living in a little hologram, like a bubble. So imagine you're sitting right here in the middle of your hologram. That's my little stick figure here. You're in the middle of your hologram. And all the people that you see now and everything around you is also in your hologram. And based on whatever your energy is, whatever your vibration is in that now moment, within a minute or so, you will launch another hologram. It's like, it replicates. It's like a copy machine that the whole hologram copies every single minute. Actually, they say it's even less than a minute, but it will change. So say you're in a really positive mood and you're excited and you're feeling good, you may manifest your next little world, your whole universe right here. It's moving up. Okay, now you're, okay, you can tell those are stick figures. So you've kind of gone a little bit higher. Your hologram's going to be a little brighter. It's going to be a little more flowing. There's going to be higher energy, and you're going to feel good. And then in that moment, if you milk that hologram and you don't get yourself upset about it, or you notice something negative, and you're just like, wow, I feel pretty happy right now. Things pretty good. Wow. And you really milk the hologram, and maybe you even take it up a notch. Wow, I love this. Then your next hologram in the next minute can go up to here. And then the next, so as we get up higher and higher, life gets brighter and higher vibrational and beautiful. But the cool thing, according to Marina Jacobi, every time when you launch that next bubble, like hologram, where you live, all your people go with you. But they're not exactly the same. They're not exactly the same, because if you're higher in vibration and you're more positive, everybody in your whole reality is going to be that way too. They're all going to be a reflection of you. So say you have the call today and everything is great, and you walk out of the call and you're really high and you're just really up here. You've gone up, 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 and that's the goal, is to take you up. your goal is to stay there. So when if you came here because you want to stay there, you didn't come here because you want to go down there. So your goal is to maintain that frequency, to stay in the positive by noticing the positive, by feeling the positive, and you can even go up higher by just raising your frequency, raising your vibration by noticing great stuff. But I know how life is. Sometimes everything's going really, really good, but then some old stuff comes up. Maybe your old doubts and fears. Maybe just something that you still need to deal with comes up. And then imagine this. You drop down into a lower vibrational hologram. Someone upsets you. So if someone upsets you, something comes up, normally what happens is that you get upset, and then you get maybe more upset, and then you're upset, and then you get all involved in it and you get embroiled in it, and then you start replicating holograms going in that direction, and then you get stuck. And so some of you who did the homework, you got to hear Bettino Massaro talk about the 3-day process. And the 3-day process would be something like, you come off the call, you're all super, super excited. This is day 1, you're on fire, you're ready for the world, you can do anything, you have no fear. Then the next day, some kind of shadow shows up, some of your old stuff, some of your old shame, your fear, your doubt, your guilt, or whatever. And there's a situation, it manifests in the form of a situation. Someone says something to you, someone talks smack about you, something, all when you're all high and like, damn, God, I really actually thought I was going to do this thing. So you come down here for a moment because your shadow, your guilt, or something manifested something, some darkness in your environment, and then you get stuck here. And that's where most of society is. They go to church, or they do something to get, or they do something to get real high, and they feel they're going to stay there forever. And then the next day, some shadow shows up, some dark moment shows up, and then they get stuck in this timeline down here, and they never get themselves back. So the goal is, if you find yourself on the day 2 of this process, of this 3-day process, and let me say, as Bettino said in the homework, we call it a 3-day process, but it could be 3 weeks. It could be 3 months. It could be 3 hours. But there's usually a stage where you're high, and then some kind of shadow, it's your own limiting belief or your own guilt or whatever, creates a darker, denser situation, drops you back down. The goal is not to get overly involved. You can look, don't touch. Don't get involved. Don't start believing it. Don't run off with it. Because then you're going to continue to replicate more negative, and you're going to be stuck. What you want to do is say, okay, how did I get down here? The shadow comes from me. If I got here because somebody judged me, then who am I judging? And now you've got to dig deep. Because sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I'm judging myself. I'm overly harsh on myself. Maybe. Or maybe you're like, well, I'm not judging anybody. But really dig deep, because then you might say, well, wait a minute. I'm judging him because he deserves it. It's judgment. So you're going to be stuck. You got thrown back into your shadow because there's something there for you to clean up, some information to make you stronger. Because if you're going to be living up in these high vibrational realities, you want to clean up your act. You want to be dealing with good stuff all the time. So if you get thrown down into a shadow experience, look around, look at the experience, and decide, is it disrespect? Did somebody disrespect you? Did somebody judge you? Start looking within and see where you're bringing that into your life. And then, you're going to have to work with it. You're going to have to either stop the judgment. You're going to have to, or if it's guilt, it could be just your own guilt that, everything is going good and you're making money and everything's happy and everybody's just so happy and life is good. And then this old guilty feeling comes up. Well, man, I don't really deserve this. It's just something in the back of your head. It'll knock you right down into the shadow if you start thinking, I don't deserve this. And it might come up. I mean, that's something I deal with. Guilt is my number one shadow. I always deal with guilt. As soon as things get going good, I somehow think I don't deserve this. And I end up in a shadow experience, and I quite often will stay there for a while. I really have to do some work around this. This is one of the reasons I really like breath work, because it's not like talk therapy where you talk for years and months about your guilt. You're going into breath work, you're going into rebirthing like Rita does. And what comes up is what needs to come up. But you start to the shadows start to just kind of go on their own without you having to deal with it. What comes up needs to come up. So I really encourage you to consider doing some one-on-one breath work with Rita. I believe there's a lot of magic there, and it's a really good way to deal with shadow, because I know that's coming up in your head. Well, okay, I know I got all these shadows, but I don't know what to do with them. Well, when you're in life, don't get overly attached. Look around. Where am I manifesting this? Breathe through it, be detached, and start pulling yourself back up and thinking any good thoughts, doing any kind of positive activities. If it's forgiveness you need to do, if it's getting rid of the judgment, if it's saying sorry, I don't know what you have to do. Maybe it's dealing with your own guilt and start looking at where you actually are deserving. I don't know, but you're going to have to work yourself up. And it could be with some self-therapy, or it could be just go out and play tennis if tennis is what you love, breathing, I don't know. But start working your way back up. And I am going to teach you a technique I learned. I'm going to practice it at some point today, but I hope to really, I learned of this sort of ancient technique today. It came upon me, and I feel very lucky of how some ancients dealt with being in very difficult situations, like the world is in right now, and how they were really able to raise their vibration in an instant. So I'm going to clean up this screen for a second. Okay, so I just cleaned the screen. Now, where do I want to go with this? There's a number, we will revisit this again and again, and we are going to do a quantum manifestation technique at the end of the Ananda Mandala, where I'm going to guide you through a meditation so that you can actually practice. What I wanted to show you is, say we're here right now, you're here in this little hologram, and we go and we do this. We launched some fantastic manifestation at the end of our breath work today, and we're super, super pumped, and we're super excited. And what we want to do is, when we leave the call, and one of the reasons we'll have planning at the end of this call today, is to begin to think of the activities that you can do this week that are going to keep you in this high vibrational place or take you up. You also are going to have to really control your mind and your mind chatter. And that's the challenging one, is to manage the mind chatter, because the mind chatter can easily take you right back down here. So I had asked, I'm asking in the homework and the materials, to maybe set your phone for every 3 hours, or if you want to do it every hour or every 2 hours, however you want to do it, and just set your alarm over the course of the week. And when the alarm goes off, stop and look at what you're thinking. Are you up in these realms? Is your mind chatter, are you looking at really negative news? Are you watching a violent movie or something that's going to get you down? Or are you doing something to stay in the positive or go up? Are you in appreciation? Are you grateful? Are you present? It's a challenge, but the thing is, what happens, and we've all been to conferences, we've been to all kinds of things, we've been to weddings, and we get so high and we think we'll never come down. We are so in that group euphoria moment, and we get back home, we get back to work, and we often will come back down here because we don't really have a plan of how we're going to stay up here, in these higher vibrational realms. So some of that, we'll do a little planning around that. And we're just going to have fun with it. I'm sure it already looks scary, like, oh my gosh, how I'm going to stay positive all week, how I'm going to stay there all week. I know I'm going to get I know who I'm going to run into this week, and that's going to drop me right down in shadow. And when you get into shadow, you'll work your way up. And you always can contact me on WhatsApp and say, Mel, I got lost in a shadow. I'm stuck. How do I get out of here? And I'll try to get you out of shadow, because, and I might call some of you if I get lost in a shadow. It happens. We can already feel it, right? I bet you're like, damn, wow, I don't know. But we're just gonna do it, and you can do it. So we'll deal with some of that at the end of the call. Now, can I have that whiteboard again? Now I wanna show you one other little thing. All right, one other little thing is, imagine one of the things that's happening with a lot of us nowadays is I hope you've had a chance to look at the chakras that are in the homework. And the chakras are our energy centers. And for you yogis, you probably are familiar with chakras. And if you didn't see it in the homework, maybe you can do some research on chakras over the course of the week. And I will have some more exercises coming out in the course of the week on chakras. And we're definitely going to do some chakra work today. So the chakras are the energy centers, and it's the way the energy flows in the body. So for a moment, I want you to visualize what's called the root chakra. It's the chakra at the base of your spine. It's right at your very base. It's a color red, and it is the energy that we tap into to be grounded on this earth, to survive, to put food in our mouth, to pay our bills, all those things we have to do to manage our day-to-day existence and our family, our home, making sure we have a home. It's everything about survival and getting by in this world. And that's the root chakra. Now, the next chakra it's an orange chakra just below the navel. And that is the chakra of creation. So this chakra is, some people say it's a very sensual chakra. It's the chakra of sexuality. But I mean, sensuality occurs in many ways, not just sexuality. I would like to say it's more of a flowing energy. That if you're doing that thing that you love to do, whether it's gardening or playing tennis or dancing, where energy is just flowing through you and you're just kind of creating, even as a child when you were playing with dolls, where you sort of lose track of time and you're creating and being creative at some level. Often the water is associated with that chakra. And then of course the bladder is in that area, the kidneys are in that area. So it is associated with that flowing feeling. So that's the chakra of creation. Some even say it's the chakra of the inner child, just that flowing energy. This chakra, the solar plexus chakra, it's right in the solar plexus area, just under the chest and above the belly button, the solar plexus. Like if you were to tighten your gut really hard and somebody could just punch you in the solar plexus. So that's like where our inner sun meets. That's where our sun is, our power pack, our energy center. And it's where divine will and your will, you as a personality, where it meets. And it's your motivation and your energy and your power. And that's why working the core and standing up in your power and just letting that energy flow is always going to be a good way to stay in that flowing energy that's just going to power you up, give you motivation, give you focus. And then there is the heart chakra. Now, this is the one people tend to be able to feel right away because we feel so much from our heart. Our heart blows open, it swells, and we get excited, and we fall in love, and we feel compassion. So luckily, most people can feel the heart. And I think it's quite a wide area, and I feel in different parts of my heart. Sometimes I feel things high in my heart. I feel things low in my heart. I feel right of the heart. I feel left of the heart. So as we do some exercises today, I might encourage you to feel in all the places where you have feelings in the heart, where they come from. Then there's the throat chakra. The throat chakra is related to our expressiveness, how we're expressing ourselves in the world. Also, how we talk to ourselves, our inner chatter, our inner expressiveness. So people think it's just how we express in the world, but it's also all that chatter, that inner voice, the way we're talking to ourselves all the time. So it's expressiveness. And I actually found that one quite blocked in a lot of people. I find when I've done exercises, it's where people quite lose it. I always expect to see people lose it in the heart more. But I really see a lot of people, as soon as we hit that chakra right there, like people kind of go crazy. So sometimes I feel that it's not just that people are repressed vocally, but they just don't have the time to be expressive, to express who their truth, who they truly are. Just being out in the world, just expressing, being you and your truth. I think our truths are blocked because we're so bogged down with all the duties of life that we don't even know what our truth is anymore. We don't even know who we are. Things come out of our mouth. We don't even know if we really believe that. So I find that's why people kind of lose it on the throat chakra. I was always surprised by that because I think a lot of us, that's why we're like, I don't know what I want. Because there is just so much layer of programming around us. How are we going to express ourselves? We don't know who we are. So that's what I'm thinking. That's just a theory of mine. Then there's the third eye, and that is the one you use to visualize when you dream at night. You actually project through the third eye. You see your dreams through the third eye, and you get a lot of intuition through the third eye. When you were a child, you might have been more imaginative. You might have even had little imaginary friends or been able to see more. That happens through the third eye. And then there's the crown chakra. That's where heaven meets earth. That's where heaven comes into your body. And it's the portal of your body. It's the crown chakra. It's your divinity. So that's just a quick walk through the chakras. And I'm saying all that to just tell you, I need my whiteboard again. So here's the deal. When we're making these when we're reprinting our little holograms, so say right now, so many people are really overworking the survival chakra. We're all quite concerned with our survival. That red chakra at the base of our spine, you know, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to support the people I support? How am I going to survive? Like, am I going to get COVID? How do I survive? And we're really, 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 really working that chakra. And that chakra, all the energy is kind of getting stuck there. So the energy, you know, the chakras should be all equally balanced and flowing, and you should see them all lined up and all the same size. But there's just, this one is getting overworked and it's stealing energy from the others, and all of our focus is on survival. So what happens is we start to manifest an imbalanced life. So we might be getting in some of these higher vibrational states, but we still might kind of have an imbalanced life. So though you're reprinting a hologram and maybe you're going up here a little higher, it could still be a lot of that survival work. You know, you might be in a better mood, you might be happy, and you might be happier about going about your day-to-day work, but you might just be working and surviving still. So that is why we do chakra work, is we try to just bring energy in and balance out the chakras. And I believe that's why we do breath work. Now, there's a very interesting medical device. I learned about it from a really great neurosurgeon in the United States. And he was saying that he doesn't take, he does pretty serious surgery. He does brain surgery, he does neurosurgery. He's one of the most famous doctors in the world. And he was telling me that he stopped taking hormone panels. I mean, before you do brain surgery, really, it's a good idea to do a good blood workup and see where hormones are and inflammation is and all of that, so that you know the health of your patient prior to brain surgery or spine surgery. So you know if they have the ability to recover. And he said, I stopped doing blood work because it's not that accurate. There's a lot of, it's not that, you know, it might not be transported to the lab appropriately. They could have had fluorescent lights on in the lab and they could affect it. So he says that he uses this thing, it's called you can look it up. It's a really interesting device. It's called a BioWell GDV camera. And it was invented in Russia, and it's used in Russian hospitals. And they've been using it in Russian hospitals for a long time. And what it does is it looks at your chakras, the size of your chakras, how big they are. So it shows how much energy you have in all the different areas of the body. And then you'll see some chakras in certain areas are quite small and weak, and some are really big. And it tells him how much energy does the patient have, because if the patient has a bunch of big chakras and they're all lined up, he says, oh, fine, they're good for surgery. Or it says, they've got some imbalances they need to work through. And from there, he can actually predict what the hormone panels are. So it's, like I said, mainly used in Russia, and they're starting to use it in some American hospitals and clinics. So I went and got one years ago, and I brought it to Phuket Cleanse, and I thought, wow, this would be great. Every single person, because people are always coming up to me like, should I work out today? I don't know if I should work out today. I don't know if I'm tired. Should I just do yoga? And everybody's like, doesn't know what to do. So I thought, well, if I could get it, if somebody comes up and is like, should I work out today? I could say, put your thumb on the GDV camera machine, and then I can see how much energy you have. I can see how big your chakras are, how balanced you are. And even based on the chakras, I could pick out the kind of workout that would balance you out. Well, the camera didn't work the camera really worked. It's just to do a reading on somebody to go through the whole technical process, it would take me 20 minutes. And I thought, wow, I would have a madhouse on my hand. A madhouse on my hands if I had to, every time anybody wanted to work out, walk, hey, tell me if I should work out, what I should do right now. I got to go, the bus is about to leave. And any of you who've been to Phuket Cleanse, you know everybody's in a hurry to go somewhere. I thought this would be a total madhouse. But we did have a period where we let people do it so many times a week. Well, I used to do this breath work in the sun every single day at noon. Every day at noon, I would go out in the front yard and I do this breath work meditation, and then I get back to work. And so we had like a technical guy, IT guy who ran the camera. He's like, let me do a before and after. And, I want to see your chakras before, and I want to see what your chakras look like, because it looks like you enjoy your meditation. You really look rejuvenated afterwards. I want to see what happens. So before I'd go out and do my meditation, my chakras would be a little imbalanced from the stress of the morning. Some would be big, small, all over the place. And when I would come back from the meditations, I'd have all these giant like suns, all of the same size, up and down, and they were huge. And all the other practitioners were really fascinated, because all these other practitioners do all kinds of great work on themselves. They do yoga, they do energy work, they do all this. And they're like, whoa, these are the biggest chakras we've ever seen. Now, I wasn't always like that. It just seemed after I did some pretty intense breath work, and I did it in the sun, and I was breathing and I was pulling the sun's energy into my body and through my breath. And I just did this for 45 minutes. I was able to manifest giant chakras straight up and down. And that's amazing, because most people's chakras are all imbalanced all over the place. I did that same meditation every single day, no matter what, because it was the only way I could get through the second half of the day. And it just life just seemed easy. So to say that you have to do all kinds of techniques to balance the root, if people say, oh, your root chakra is overstimulated, you need to just focus on the root, or you need to focus on the solar plexus. My experience from checking this GDV camera, that I could do an amazing breathwork session, like the kind that Rita's doing with you, the kind that we're doing on these calls. And I was good. I didn't have to go focus on my heart. Oh, my heart's closed. I just focus on my heart. I just had to just fill the whole body up with energy. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just thinking about breathing, taking in energy, breathing, taking in energy, just like we do. No thought, just like Rita's breath work. She's not asking you specifically to analyze or think, and boom, I'm taken care of. I'm like a giant sun. That's what I felt like. And life seemed effortless, and it seemed balanced. So, okay, can I go back to my little whiteboard? So what I want to say is that I believe that doing some kind of practice, like the kind you're learning here, meditation, and combined with breath work, or if you like the sun like me, I'm not saying it's good for your skin or bad for your skin. I'm saying I use it to pull energy in, and I pull in the sun's energy with breath. You can certainly do it safely with the sunrise or sunset. You won't burn. But I really use that. And what happens is I find it naturally lifts me into these higher vibrations, but I have a more balanced life. Everything's sort of more balanced. So that's why we're going into the chakra work a little bit today, just to help you understand them. So I think I've given you the main thing. And now the rest of the day, or the rest of this call, we're going to start doing different exercises. So we'll start to, I'm going to help you grow all your little energy centers. And when you get off the call, I think you're going to feel balanced and you're going to feel good. And I would use it for something that you want to do or achieve, or just to say you're sorry or hello, or reach out to someone who needs you. But hopefully you're going to walk away just feeling that amazing, high vibrational, balanced feeling. So let the games begin. Okay, so it's time for you to make a transition to get your yoga mats ready and get ready for yoga. If you don't have a yoga mat, you can lay on a towel or on a rug or a floor, wherever you want to do your yoga. So we'll give you 5 minutes or 3 minutes, the sooner the better. It's 41 after the hour. So if you can come back in just a few minutes, and we're going to start some yoga and shaking. Yes, I just wanted to ask everybody to have your paper and pen next to where you're doing yoga, because as we move into these higher vibrational states, there's moments I'm going to ask you to ground what comes up before it just disappears from your memory. So it's important to have a paper and pen near you, because we'll be taking some pauses, and I'll say pause after this exercise and write a few things down that come up as you're moving through these energies. Okay, so Jenny's here to work with us on our chakra yoga, and we're going to start with the first pose, working on the root chakra, that red chakra. And I'd like you to just start breathing energy into the root. It's the chakra at the base of your spine. The I am here and now, I am present chakra. See the color red in your mind's eye, and start to feel the energy just move through the root chakra. Start that breathing, just breathing in slow. And now as you're breathing, you're going to keep breathing, and you're going to start to move into the garland pose. So begin standing in mountain pose with the feet separated just wider than hip distance apart. Point your toes out slightly and bring your heels in slightly like a ballerina. Still breathing into that root chakra, letting the energy flow in that area. Bend your knees deeply, coming down into a squatting position. Sink your hips low past the knees. Keep your knees pointing in the same direction as your toes. Lean your chest forward and fit your torso between your thighs. Press your palms together at heart center and press your outer arms against your inner thighs to separate the legs and lengthen the spine. And as you're sitting here, you're going to start breathing in steadily and deeply into that root. Just noticing that area, bringing attention to that area, and you can come and go from the pose and get back into it. So some of you might stay in the pose for a long time. Some of you have to step out for a moment and come back to it. Everybody's working at their own pace, but everyone's focus is breathing in and out that red flowing energy and beginning to just bring some flow to that overstimulated area. And as this is where the process really begins to start. So again, step out of the pose if you need to and come back, come and go as you please, because we're really going to start some work right now. So as you're breathing into it, and really I need you to breathe, okay? I need you to breathe energy. I need you to see the red. And as you're breathing in, begin to turn up the frequency, making yourself feel a little bit higher as you're breathing. Each breath, each successive breath, you're turning up the excitement, the positive feelings, the good feelings. You're turning up the frequency. So just keep reaching higher, higher. until you almost feel like your heart might explode with excitement. Being greedy with your breath, really, really breathing. And then there might be a point where you just want to hold, where you find a peak and you're satisfied with that peak, peak, peak energy, that fast, high moving energy. And again, moving in and out of the position. If you need to take a break and come back, that is fine. Hold it just there and let that energy flow and just feel into it. What feelings come up? What emotions? What thoughts? Or maybe nothing comes up, but just feel into that energy, getting to know that high moving energy. Okay, so come on out of the pose, and I would like you to find your little notebook and write what energies, like if you had to describe the energy or a thought or a feeling, and you might have to reach, because when you move into these high vibrational energy spots, there's not regular human words for them. So you might have to put some weird words together. It's very difficult to describe these high moving energies with human words. So you might have to put a few fumbly words together, but it's just for you to feel what that high frequency energy moving through that root chakra feels like. Okay, we're going to go through the same process now, working the sacral chakra. This is that orange colored chakra just below the navel. And this is the one that's associated with sensuality. It's associated with flow of creativity, creative flow. And you're going to get into the butterfly pose. Start in a seated position and bring the soles of your feet together to touch. Clasp hands around feet and gently bring chest forward and down until you feel a stretch in your back. You can also flutter your legs as you want. And as you flutter, just allow anything that's sort of stuck in those hips to move out. And begin to go through that same process, if you haven't already started, is bringing that orange colored flowing energy into that area. Breathing it in deeply, being very, very greedy. Being greedy with the inhale and exhale. Feeling the flow, and as you're getting that flow going and beginning to heal that area, let's turn up the frequency. Let's get a higher vibe going. Maybe you need to hold some feelings in your heart of excitement, or maybe you can just reach. You can feel the energy. Maybe you even hear something in your ear like a high-pitched sound, and keep reaching and flowing and breathing that beautiful orange light and letting go anything that has to leave the hips. Turning it up, seeing how high you can reach. If it feels like a glass is about to bust, like when a high frequency occurs and the glasses break, that's great. You're breaking your glass ceiling. And you may be only comfortable going so high, and just breathe into those high feelings. And what does it feel like? What are you noticing? What is this energy, this beautiful, fast moving, abundant energy feel like as it's flowing through there? Okay, so take some time now and write whatever came up. We want to ground that. Whatever words, thoughts, feelings, or nothing at all. Maybe you just felt some positive energy. You can just write that. Whatever, or nothing. It doesn't matter. And it's weird. I know funny, kind of funky words might come up. It's like you've traveled to another planet and you've got to come back and explain it to all the earthlings. Okay, now we're going to move into the solar plexus. And this is where the will of the heavens meet the will of your personality. And so the solar plexus, imagine if you were tightening up your solar plexus real quick so someone could give you a punch. That's your solar plexus area. Maybe put your hands on it for just a moment, just feeling into that. It's yellow, it's like your internal sun. And begin to breathe into it. Allowing your sun to mix with the heavenly sun. Just make your sun more heavenly, more flowy. Like a divine sun is meeting the sun that's been doing all the hard work as you felt very alone sometimes. You're not alone. And breathe in that divine sun, healing that area. It's had to work very hard lately. Breathing in, being abundant and greedy with the breath. And now you will be moving into boat pose. So begin seated with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor, hands resting beside your hips, keeping your spine straight. Lean back slightly and lift your feet, bringing your shins parallel to the floor. Draw in your low back, lift your chest and lengthen the front of your torso. Then extend your arms forward in line with your shoulders, with your palms facing each other. Balance on your sit bones, keeping your spine straight. Take care not to let your lower back sag or chest collapse. Lengthen the front of your torso from the pubic bone to the top of your sternum. The lower belly, the area just below your navel, should be firm and somewhat flat. You can stay there, or you can, with an exhalation, straighten your legs to a 45-degree angle from the ground, bringing your body into a V shape. Gaze at your toes. Spread your shoulder blades wide and reach out through your fingers, actively engaging your hands. Now, this is another one of those exercises where you may want to come and go from the exercise, because I really want you to focus on breathing in. And what's so beautiful about this exercise is it's a challenging one. And this is where your inner sun is going to fire you, power you up. Breathing your inner sun in and out. If you have to move out of the pose or move into an easier version of the posture, go ahead. But really begin working your sun and going through the same process of breathing in, breathing out, turning up the frequency, turning up the vibration, reaching higher, continuing to breathe through it, powering up your sun. It's not so necessarily that you make this the most difficult exercise. What's necessary is that you turn up the vibration and reach, reach, reach. Always can come back to the exercise. How much can you turn it up? And just when you feel glass is going to shatter, you can go higher or you can stop there, building yourself a new glass ceiling. Be with whatever energies are coming up, feelings, emotions, anything weird, maybe visuals. Please stay in the breath. Turn up the energy. And when you're ready to come out and start taking some notes as to what came up, go ahead and do that. Coming up with those weird, funky words. Sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5 words to describe these high vibrational energies. And if that's your case, good work. You've moved into a very high frequency. If you are struggling to describe this with one human word, it's like you left the planet. Okay, so now we're going to move into the heart chakra. This is going to be easier for you to feel because we feel the growing and opening all the time, the closing and breaking of our hearts. And we're going to go with the camel pose for this. And you can begin by starting to breathe in and out of the heart, seeing the color green, breathing in this etheric color green. It's like the color of green light, letting the heart just start to open, opening it wide. And this camel pose will take you into a big heart opening. So you're going to begin on your knees with your legs and feet hip width distance. Place your hands behind as if you were in the back pocket of your jeans. Engage your core and press your hips forward. The gaze is behind you. You're gazing to the back. Continuing to breathe. The goal here is to have your heart wide open, really stretch in a way that your heart can really get a good stretch. That chest area is opening. Stay here, or you can go into full camel. If you're going into full camel, lift your chest and reach back, touching your heels with your hands. And again, coming in and out, because this is an important one. This is the heart chakra. So just really allow the heart to open and breathe through this. This is where it gets exciting now. And then turn up the volume. And this is turning up the volume of your own compassion, your own ability to love and to love yourself. This is a chance for forgiveness. This is a chance to create a whole new world, a whole new hologram based on a wide open heart. This is the time for self-forgiveness. This is the time for self-love. This is the time to end those grudges. This is the time to eliminate self-judgment. Just move in and out of the pose as you need to. I really want to spend time. There's a lot of breaks in our heart, and most of those breaks we've done to ourselves as we have overly judged and overly broken our own hearts. And it's time to just turn up the volume. Turn up, I should say, the frequency. Move some high energies through the heart. How big can your heart love? How much compassion can you be into? Widen your heart for compassion. Again, moving in and out of the pose as you need, because I really want you to get the exercise. How much forgiveness are you ready to give to yourself and others? This is where it's time to commit to a whole new world. A world created by the heart. Turning up those frequencies, especially when the heart begins to cry, as many hearts might be starting to tear up a bit, whether it's from compassion or broken hearts. See where in the heart you're feeling some of these things. See where in the heart needs a little more energy. Heal your heart, explore your heart, coming in out of the pose as you need to. Yeah, so if you can take some time now to make a few notes as to what came up, how did these exciting positive energies flowing through the heart feel? I really want to focus on the positive. If you really want to reflect on some breaks or tears in the heart or some sadness, why don't you put it on another side of the paper or on the back side of the paper? I want to keep these high, beautiful energies in their own little space, because that's what we're going to use going forward. And now it's time to, I bet there's a lot of notes there on the heart. I bet we could spend all day, all weekend on the heart. But it's time to move into the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, we're going to do a shoulder stand. And the throat chakra is the color blue. Moving into that throat area, beginning to breathe in and out the color blue and start to prepare for a shoulder stand. Come to plow pose with your back, shoulders, and your head on the mat. From plow pose, bend your elbows and bring your hands onto your back with your fingertips facing upward. The hands should come about mid-back. Keep your elbows shoulder width apart. Do not allow them to splay out to either side. Lift your feet up off the floor toward the ceiling, either one at a time or together if the abdominals are strong enough. Once you raise the legs, don't turn your head to look at the screen and look at Jenny, since you can injure your neck that way. So keep your gaze upward and your neck straight. If you want to see what Jenny's doing, you can come out of the pose and take a look. Move your hips toward the front of the room and your feet toward the back of the room to straighten the body. The correct alignment is with the hips over the shoulders and feet over the hips. And now you are pressing up against that throat chakra, just breathing in and out the energy, clearing that area, allowing your truth to flow. It's a chance maybe to get to know your truth and turning up the energy, turning up the vibration, reaching, 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 breathing, reaching, coming and going out of the pose if you need to. Just feel in these higher divine energies. Take it up to your glass ceiling. Okay, so come on out of the pose now and take some notes as to what these exciting energies felt like. Again, if anything negative came up, maybe put it to the other side of the paper on the other side. I really want to collect the good energies that came through, as that's what we want to build upon. Okay. And the next chakra is the third eye chakra. And begin to breathe this beautiful color lavender through the third eye. Moving your gaze to the center point of your head, as if you're looking inward. And breathing that energy in, opening up that area. And you're going to do child's pose. Kneel on the floor with the toes together and widen your knees. Rest your palms on top of your thighs. On an exhale, lower your torso between your knees. Drape your arms back towards your feet. Relax your shoulders toward the ground. And you are touching the third eye point on the ground and keeping your focus there, breathing in and out of that space. I'm going through the same process we've gone through with all the chakras, turning up the energy, the frequency, moving into higher, higher, higher places, higher spaces. Maybe almost becoming a little tired and lost and possibly disoriented. That means you're traveling. Okay, so come on out of the pose and begin to ground whatever came up. Any feelings, energies, sensations, images. And now we're going to work on the crown chakra. And we're going to do a headstand or a modified headstand. Not everybody can do a headstand. So do what you can do. And the idea is just to get the top of your head onto the floor. So first you're going to touch opposite elbows. Keep elbows down as you interlock your fingers into the mat. Place the top of your head on the mat. And some of you could just stop here. And if you'd like to keep going, and move into a full headstand. Tuck your toes and straighten your legs. Some of you, tuck your knees into your chest. Align knees to hips and straighten the legs. And now you're just breathing in. I know this is an odd place to breathe, but you are growing your crown. Just imagine an opening, that crown is just opening to your divinity, to the higher light, to the higher energies. Just letting that white colored light pour into you. Breathing in and out, and as usual, turning up the frequency and the vibration. And you can come in and out of the pose as you would like, resuming or not. I guess we could leave Jenny here all day, but we might as well relieve her. And come on out of the pose. And probably most of you have already come out of the pose. So yes, so ground these last feelings and energies before we get ready for our shaking. So go ahead and take some notes, and we'll need a few minutes here to transition on our end, and use that time to transition on your end if you need to run to the restroom, if you need to get a drink of water. But most importantly for the shaking, we want you to have eye masks. So we will start the shaking in about 5 minutes from now. That'll be 16 minutes after the hour. So we will see you in a few minutes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny. I've met all of you, I believe. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about now, just going to re-go over the shaking. And then I'm also just going to quickly talk about the technique for the Ananda Mandala, okay? So just to remind you, with the shaking, we're going to use the same song we used the first week. It's a 6-minute song. So what you want to do once we start the music is just to stand really grounded on your mat. Good idea to have your blindfold. So you want to blindfold. And once the music starts to play, I'm going to use this now, you want to start just really feeling into the shaking. So you want to keep your feet grounded, and it's almost like the music moves you, okay? So just initially you'd start like this with your eyes closed, preferably with your blindfold on. I'm not going to be talking. So at some point during the shaking, you would then transform that energy into dancing, okay? The idea behind all of this, you're going to have thoughts coming up thinking, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. What am I actually doing? The idea is that you're trying to shift and move energy in your body, okay? So any stuck energy, you're trying to just let it go and then transform that into joy, okay? So that's on the shaking. I have said all this before, but just to reiterate. Then also what I want to do is go through just the technique for the Ananda Mandala. The lady at the start of the meditation will also describe it, but just so that you can get a visual on the actual breath work. So for those of you that are familiar with yogic breathing, it is actually breath of fire, okay? Now you want to do it in and out through your nose. So your mouth will be shut. I'd recommend, if you haven't got a tissue, just to get a tissue, just to actually blow your nose, because it's good to have completely clear your nose. And then when you breathe in, it's going to be a big breath in on one, okay? So your breath in will be through your nose, but at the same time, your diaphragm should push down, so your belly should come out. It should not be forced. So it looks something like this. Your exhale should be short and sharp. And at the same time that you exhale, you want to snap your belly in towards your spine. Obviously, I'm talking, so my belly's not doing the right thing. So that will be on 2. So inhale through your nose, nice full breath in, belly goes out. And then with your exhale, something weird's going on with the sun. And then with your exhale, a short, sharp exhale as you snap your belly in. What's going on with the sound? Okay, so it looks like this. Make sense? Okay, so it should be a very relaxed breath. You should be able to continue this forever, okay? So not forced or too exaggerated. The lady, as I said, will say it at the beginning. So what we're going to do now, once I pull this out, I'm going to stand back on my yoga mat, put my blindfold on, and in about 30 seconds tomorrow, we'll start the music. We're going to shake. We're going to move into dance. Please all do it, and don't, I kind of want you to all do it. And then at the end of that, we'll come together, stand still for 30 seconds or so, just to kind of really connect. And then at that stage, you can either do your Ananda Mandala seated or you can lie down. So make sure that you've got everything ready right now. I'm not going to be doing it here on screen. I'll be doing it in my room, but Mel will take over with the dialogue as well as the actual official Ananda Mandala tape. All right. See you on the other side.
So now we're going to move into the Ananda Mandala meditation, which is translated as bliss circle. Ananda Mandala, bliss circle. And you can either lie down for this, or you can do this exercise seated. Or you might start seated and move into a lying down position later. Some of you who've done Ananda Mandala before are used to doing it probably sitting up and holding hands. But my experience is many people, their backs start to hurt and they don't really enjoy the experience if they're getting back pain. So I've now invited people to lie down when they need to at any point so that they can really enjoy this breath work. So you're going to breathe the way Jenny had demonstrated, and you're going to listen to the directions, and I will be talking you through points of the process.
Namaste. Ananda Mandala is a powerful yogic breathing technique and a form of meditation which helps to activate the chakras and to awaken the Kundalini. It is a combination of rhythmic, rapid breathing and meditation on the 7 chakras. When you hear 1, inhale. When you hear 2, exhale. Inhalation should be deep, while exhaling is fast and strong. Use the diaphragm, the stomach muscles, as a pump. Let your stomach extend out while inhaling and bring it in toward your spine while exhaling. At the end of each cycle, exhale completely when you hear 2 and follow the instructions on the chakra meditation. You will not be doing any of the chanting. This form of meditation is most effective when done in a group. Sit in a circle, holding hands. Both your thumbs will face left, so your left palm is up and the right palm is down. Sit comfortably in a meditative posture on the floor or in a chair with your spine erect. Discontinue if serious discomfort arises. Keep focusing on breathing through any mild discomfort. The more deeply you breathe, the stronger are the benefits of this ancient yogic practice. Now, close your eyes, relax your body, and focus on your breathing. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Begin to lose yourself in the breath.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
As you become the breath.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You don't have to
1, 2,
reach for these
1,
higher
2,
energies.
1,
You are
2, 1,
higher
2,
energies.
1, 2,
Just
1, 2,
become.
1, 2, 1,
Process.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Becoming
1,
those energies,
2,
letting the mind
1,
go.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Stay in the belly.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
And the denser, slower moving energies
1, 2,
become transmuted naturally.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
As you stay in the breath.
2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out. Do not chant. Focus on the root chakra, Muladhara. La.
Open to the healing tone, as that's a tone. Opening and healing and tonifying that root chakra.
1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam Om.
Feel the tones healing the crown, opening the crown,
2.
being receptive
Exhale.
to the healing. Exhale completely.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
And now you're working under the hood.
1, 2.
You're working
1, 2.
on your energy
1, 2.
as
1,
energy.
2, 1, 2, 1,
By
2,
being
1, 2, 1, 2,
the breath, being the
1,
energy.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
Flowing with the breath.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Nothing to do.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Stay in the breath.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Staying with the breath, staying awake in the breath. Got a little more to go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out. Focus on the second chakra, Swadhisthana.
Open to receive the healing tone. Feeling it, opening to it. Feel as if you can feel the tone she's sending you in that
1.
chakra.
Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam Om. 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
you ever
One,
feel yourself
two,
stepping
one,
into the
two,
mind, go
one,
deeper into
two,
the breath.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You can start playing with the energy that you are now, moving it around.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Where does it need to go? Just move it.
1, 2, 1,
By putting your attention where it needs to go is all you have to do, is just gentle attention.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And if you find a place where maybe you have some discomfort, you can just keep your focus there. Keep the energy in that area, doing your own self-healing, staying in the breath, staying in it. This is your work. This is self-healing. It is work. Stay in the process.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out. Focus on the third chakra, Manipura.
And just
solar
open that
plexus
chakra
area.
and receive the tone. Feeling it open, flowing.
1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam
Almost feels like a
2.
halo spinning when she does the
Exhale.
tone. We'll play with that next time.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Stay with the breath.
1.
Stay in it.
1.
If you're falling off, pull yourself back into it.
2.
Like you're a
1,
breath
2,
athlete. Get back in the
1,
game.
2,
Get back in the
1,
game.
2, 1, 2, 1.
This is the time.
1, 2.
When you start to kind of drift off is when you need to step into it. This is when the magic can happen. Waken.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Changing your posture around to allow the energy to flow. 1, 2, 1.
You are a healer. You're a self-healer now. You have to work it. Moving the energy where it's got to go. Even if you're rocking side to side, if you feel like jumping up and dancing, it's okay. Now it's time to do what the body wants. Let the energy flow where it needs to go. Just stay in the breath and begin to turn up the vibration, reaching higher for higher frequencies, and open to receive as you
hold your breath
exhale.
out. Bring your attention to the fourth chakra, the heart center,
Going-
Anahata.
Receive the healing tone.
1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam
Imagine you have like a halo on your head and it's spinning around as you open to receive the tone.
2. Exhale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Almost feel as if you're drinking in those higher energies.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Can you reach for higher frequencies, higher vibrations?
1, 2, 1,
Reaching higher,
1, 2,
becoming those higher frequency as
1, 2,
they will heal you.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Send them where they need to go by just putting your gentle attention where they need to go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Maybe opening your heart a little more as the heart can tap into some higher frequencies on your behalf. It can reach into love, compassion. The heart can reach and go to the beginning and end of time. It can reach every frequency. So if you want to go up, breathe in and out of the heart. And the heart will take you places.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out.
Open to receive.
Focus on the 5th chakra, the throat center, Vishuddhi.
Receive like a sponge. Feeling gratitude.
1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown,
Again.
Sahasrara.
As she tones, let the crown halo spin and open, allowing the heavenly energies to pour into your being.
2. Exhale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Why don't you tap into love? That'll take you higher.
2, 1.
If you need to reflect
1, 2,
on maybe a pet that you loved or
1, 2, 1,
a baby,
1, 2, 1, 2.
something that just makes your heart open wide and allows you to travel higher. It's a gentle feeling of love.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Why don't you move into compassion?
1.
See where that takes you.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Feel how the heart opens and where it opens, the shape of the heart as you breathe in compassion.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Why don't you move into forgiveness of the heart?
2, 1, 2, 1.
See, forgiveness is a beautiful flowing energy. When you really feel it from the heart, it's a real opening.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
incoming forgiveness.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out. Focus your attention on the 6th chakra, Agnya, point between the eyebrows.
Feeling that chakra open and clear.
1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara.
Feeling your halo.
Om Satyam Om. 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Staying in the breath. This is the last
2,
round.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Staying in it. You're
1,
almost
2,
coming to a
1,
close.
2.
You've done very well.
1, 2, 1,
That's
2,
it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, hold your breath out. Focus on the 7th chakra, the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam Om. 1. Inhale, hold while focusing on the crown, Sahasrara. Om Satyam Om. You can hold your breath as long as comfortable. Then exhale and return to normal breathing. Keep your eyes closed and meditate on the Sahasrara.
Okay, at this point, I would like you to visualize your intention for yourself or for others or the world, whatever intention. And I'd like you to see it and I'd like you to feel it. And I'd like you to take it up, turn up the frequency, turn up the energy, and I want you to take it to the point that you feel chills or goosebumps. So you're taking it to that peak, and when you get to that peak, you're going to hold for at least 30 seconds and just hold that intention at that peak energy And after that 30 seconds, you're just going to let it go. But remembering that frequency so that you can come back to it anytime if you want to be in the energy of your intention.
You could now relax your body and continue meditation and move into Shavasana, lying down posture.
Feeling the energy around your intention and the frequency you took yourself to. And maybe holding your hand in a certain way so that every time you hold your hand in this way, it takes you back to that frequency. Some little hand signal between you and your subconscious to take you to that frequency anytime. And little by little, you can come back to the group so we can go into our closing. We're running a little bit late, so if any of you need to go, I totally understand and I apologize for that. And I just have a few closing words and tasks for you. So it's 54 after the hour. So just so you know, in case you have anywhere to go, and I'll give you a few closing tasks. So the first task that I have for you to do, I'd like you to do, if you have the time, when you get off the call or as soon as you can do it, is to look at that list of things that came up during the yoga, chakra yoga work. As you will see, there's some energies you tapped into that might have weird titles, because as I say, sometimes you have to use 3 words to describe it. You will find that those energies will equate, some of them, not all of them, but you will find a few core desired emotions that your logical brain wouldn't have been able to uncover. So I'd like you to look at those. They can be energies, they can be emotions, they can be ways of being, core desired ways of being, core desired feelings, core desired emotions, core desired energies. All of it's really the same. And you might have to reword it and play with those words, but you will identify some things that you may want to add to your core desired feelings or desired emotions list, as those are the chakras speaking to you and the higher energies speaking to you. So use those to tap in to more of you. And you might have to adjust your intention list too, as you want to start aligning these energies or emotions with your intentions. So as you adjust the core desired feelings list or emotions or ways of being, you will need to line up or make sure they align with your intentions. So it may change your intentions. And that's where we move into the planning stage. Desire mapping is as you line up your core desired feelings, your new ones, then you begin to plan this week. If these are energies I'm excited about tapping into, what do I want to do this week? And you could start your day, every day, saying, what energy do I want to tap into today? What way of being do I want to tap into? Now, I want to mention something that often comes up in that chakra yoga and that the higher self or your guides or whatever you want to think sometimes step in and say, oh, good, she's out of her head. He's out of her head. I can send that message I've been trying to send, but she's thinking all day. And so you may have some marching orders. Something may have come to you that you need to do. You need to call. You need to be there for someone or something. You might be like, well, I didn't really necessarily, when I did that chakra, get a particular energy, but I was told to call my Aunt June, or I was told to spend more time. There's a problem over there. For example, I've seen somebody see animals when they were in the solar plexus chakra, and all they could see were animals. And we went into it, and it did seem, we first tried to interpret it as an energy of a core desired feeling, but then we felt that it could be marching orders. Like, there's a lot of animals in Phuket right now that have been abandoned when everybody had to fly out quickly. So we looked at it as potential marching order, direction from the higher self. This is where we need you now. So you might have some orders of where you can serve. So take a look at that. And the last thing I want you to think of is how you can stay in that frequency. We talked about that frequency. You created that intention. And as I mentioned, more than likely, you're going to drop into some shadows. But the less shadows you drop into, the faster you can move towards your intention. Yeah, they're going to be drops. But if you can maintain that frequency, and I'll have a little technique I'll share with you next time on how to better maintain that frequency. But for right now, stay in that frequency and do what you can to stay there and start your day saying, I need to stay here all day. That's my core desired feeling. Okay. Well, I thank you all. And there is a breathwork session in about an hour, exactly an hour. So for those of you who want to come to that, that'll be super awesome. And please reach out if you need anything. I thank you very much. See you next time.